Now, retired Navy Commander Abhilash Tomy is the feat of India after completing the Golden Globe race, finishing second to create a new record for India and, in fact, all of Asia. Abhilash Tomy landed back in India after this heroic feat last week and was felicitated by the Indian Navy. He has circumnavigated the Earth on a small boat called Bayanat in the Golden Globe race without the use of any modern equipment. His journey took a staggering 236 days, during which the veteran Navy officer travelled over 55,000 kilometers despite his boat getting damaged, and that too all alone. In 2018, Tomy participated in the 50th edition of the same race but had met with an accident in the middle of it. He suffered spinal injuries, post which he needed a titanium rod to be inserted in his spine. This time, he not only completed the race but also finished second and is now being hailed as the Titanium Man of India. Now, here is why the Golden Globe race is special. It is a single-handed and non-stop circumnavigation race. The participants go around the world, that's 30,000 miles, or as I mentioned, 55,000 kilometers. They can't take any help from any fellow participant or, in fact, anyone else during this course. The participants also cannot use any technology that did not exist in 1968 when this started, which means it rules out use of mobile phones, GPS, or any other modern navigation devices. Abhilash Tomy's wife, Urmi Mala, also posted a very emotional tweet upon his return. She said, and I quote, "Lost the habit of texting Abhilash every day, every moment. Calls to check in, texts to remind him to pick something up. Little affirmations, conversations. Left it to the universe to keep us connected somehow. Now I'm finding it tough to start all over again." Unquote. And the man of the moment, retired Commander Abhilash Tomy, is joining us. Abhilash, thanks a lot for your time and many, many congratulations for what you've managed to achieve. You've been on such an inspiring journey. So I want to understand, spending so much time alone, that too on water, away from any other person, what did you learn about yourself as you did this global race?
Well, I believe that you need to step away from the world to learn more about the world. And, being away from the world gave me an opportunity to understand myself. And it was, let's say, a voyage of deconstruction. So I kind of understood the idea behind morality and guilt and, things like that, how humans suffer from a problem of mass hallucination.
Okay.
How we make things real just because of the fact that so many people believe in it, and things like that. And one good thing was that I was living a life without making an opinion about somebody else and without wondering what the other person is thinking about me.
Right.
And in this sense, it was a very, very, very freeing experience.
You attempted this earlier as well, and you suffered injuries. You have a titanium piece in your spine. So, these are not normal situations under which you undertake one of the toughest physical and mental exercise in the world to do anywhere. And I think across even any sport. What was that moment like, and why was it that you decided to do this again?
Well, I didn't need any inspiration. I love going to sea. And in fact, when I had the accident and I was waiting for rescue, I had 3.5 days of doing nothing. There was no stress of sailing. It was just a matter of time before somebody came and picked me up. And I had a lot of time to kill. And that's when I started planning my next race. And I was, figuring out who would be my team manager, who will prepare my boat, what sort of a sponsor I need to get. So I think it was just a natural extension. And once I had the rods in the spine, one good thing was that I realized I cannot have a slip disc anymore. So that was one good thing. It was kind of a spine upgrade. And B, yes, there was a little bit of problem with flexibility, but you learn to work around it. What I say is that if you flap your hands, you will not fly. But you work around that and you, build an aircraft and you can sit in the cockpit and fly. So, that's how it was for me.
I want to understand from you, what is it that you want to share? I'm sure you're tired of everyone asking this question about this part and that part, about the mental and physical experience. So what is it that you want to tell the public or anyone about this trip?
Well, okay, so that's what, I've had so many experiences and I really want to share a lot about it. But The problem is they were so different that I don't have words to describe what happened to me. And to quote Gabriel Marquez, the famous writer, in his Nobel acceptance speech, he said, my crucial problem is a lack of conventional means to render my life believable.
Right.
And that is the crux of my solitude. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel alone because I don't have words to share my experiences.
Maybe not many could understand them as well, because you're one of those very few individuals who's done this around the world. But is a book coming then on your experiences? Maybe that's the way you can express yourself.
Of course, eventually there will be a book. Not right now, but maybe within a year there should be a book coming out.
We'll look forward to that. Let me probe you a little bit more though. What was the toughest moment physically for you as far as this race is concerned?
I think a series of events started on 26th of January with a storm, and I ended up steering the boat for about 12 hours because the steering lines of the self-steering slipped out, and I was left holding the tiller. And steering this boat in a storm is quite tough. And I ended up with a lot of crash types, a lot of damage to the boat. Plus, my back packed up. And my right leg stopped functioning, and I was literally dragging my right leg around the boat for the next 3 to 4 days, and I had to seek medical help. And with the permission of the race organizers, I spoke to my physiotherapist, Dr. Russell in Goa, and he gave me a series of exercises. And there was an immediate relief, but there were many points, there were many points in the race where I had to climb the mast, and my back was totally jammed. And I just kept at it. But later on, at 7th of February, I had another storm where my boat turned upside down a couple of times. And that led to my self-steering breaking. There was, my last spare had broken. And I found myself close to Chile. The wind was pushing me onto land. Night was falling. There were no lighthouses. And my self-steering was not working. And I really, really had to innovate and, to stay safe and get out of that situation. I think these would be some of the toughest moments.
So I want to understand, are these physically tough moments also the mentally the toughest moments, or are those moments different?
No, they were very interesting, because otherwise it was becoming quite boring. Just sailing and you don't know where your competitors are. But whenever I had a problem, that used to kind of wake me up, and my focus used to be quite sharp, and I enjoyed solving all these problems.
Right. But what is it like when you do feel down? What are those tough moments mentally like? Do you feel like giving up? Do you feel like jumping into the water and ending it all? How do those moments go?
Well, yes, I won't say there are no mental lows, and the mental lows don't happen in storms, but when there is no wind. And it's very, very frustrating, because the kind of thoughts that come to your mind is, your competitor is getting good winds and he or she is like really sailing away. And it can get quite frustrating. And when you get a whiff of wind, you're like quite happy. And you're praying that this whiff of wind lasts. Okay.
Finally, can I ask you, Abhilash, what is it? You must have learned this about yourself now. What is it about you that makes you go through this? There must be some sort of self-realization why you have done this and attempted this repeatedly. What is it that you're seeking?
Well, there are many reasons to it. Why I started this is because something that happened as a kid, and I was inspired to sail, and that's why I joined the Navy. But later on, I realized how difficult it was. You have nausea, it's very hot, you want to vomit all the while, you suffer from constipation, you don't want to eat, and you're trying to sleep, and your bunk is wet, and there's water dripping into your eyes, and it's ridiculously tough. Just existing in a boat. I'm not even saying being skipper or being sailing around the world. It's tough. But fact is, let me put it this way. There's a wall, and one day, just by persisting doing this, I was jumping and I saw what's on the other side of the wall. And then, you fall back. And then now you're like, you want to jump higher and higher so that you want to see what's on the other side of the wall. And one day you sit on top of the wall and you can see this huge ocean of freedom. And once you cross that wall, you don't want to come back. So that crucial experience that I'm looking for is freedom. And I experienced that in a very confined space of a 10-meter boat. You have the freedom to think, you have the freedom to be what you want to be, you have the freedom to eat, clothe the way you want to clothe. You are a completely free human being. Since you're not interacting with others, nobody can accuse you of committing sins, right? So you become sin-free, and it's a very different experience.
I'm sure it is. Thanks a lot for sharing those thoughts. We look forward to your book, which will be, I'm sure, a subliminal experience just going through your experiences. Abhilash Tomy, many congratulations and thanks a lot for joining us. On that note, I take your leave. News Epicenter is lined up next.